What's happening, everybody? It's Troy here. Welcome back to my channel, guys. We are going to be doing a bloom and spike tour. I have a lot of things happening, a lot of things in bud, a lot of things spiking. So we're just going to walk around and take a little bit of a bloom and spike tour. Before we get into this, though, if I could encourage you all to like the video, of course, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell. That'd be fantastic. With that said, guys, let's get into this video. We are going to be starting this tour in my warm to hot grow space. Up here it is 91 degrees Fahrenheit and my humidity is sitting at 53%. It's later on, early evening, late afternoon, early evening. So that's where we're sitting. I just turned on the air conditioner, so it's knocked it down a couple of degrees. I had a Vanda up here next to my Moats Quantum that was in bloom, but her blooms have already gone and faded over. It was 94 degrees most of last week in the afternoon time up here, and those blooms did not withhold the heat very well. So unfortunately, I don't have that to show you. But I do have the wonderful Vanda Stylus Moats Quantum. This is from Moats Nursery. She is fragrant and she's always blooming, guys. This plant is just absolutely magnificent. I hold her in such high regard and I talk so highly of her because she performs so well for me. And I have a couple other Vandas that are going to be in bloom for us soon. So we'll come back and take a look at them whenever they open up. I have down here a Dendrobium nubarana. This is a wonderful den fowl. Sadly, she is not fragrant, but she is compact. She is not that large. And that is a huge sell point for me with this orchid. I grow indoors, so I don't always have the most space to offer orchids, and she's compact. Some den phals get ridiculously large. This is Dendrobium Aridane Green. This den phal is fragrant, which is just surprising because I never come across fragrant den phals, and she is mildly fragrant. She smells like orchid. Nothing special about her fragrance, just the fact that she is a den phal who is fragrant. That is the odd part about her, but I won't complain. She has a wonderful lavender lit. I don't know if you can see it that well. Up here, I wanted to show you all Diachia hendersoniana before she goes over. You can see right here, she's already starting to go over. This is a wonderful Vandaceous type. She's a miniature, and her blooms are magenta and white. They're absolutely wonderful. They're not fragrant, but she's just such a cute little orchid. Miss Paula from Hillbilly Orchids has a Diachia, and I saw it on her channel, and I said, I have to have one of those. And I've had her for a couple of years now. This is my Angraecum didideri opening up, and look, guys, I have a spur. A lot of times my spurs get caught, and if you try to undo them, they get snagged and they'll break off very, very easily. So I always get so disappointed because I typically don't have a spur, but the last two times I've had a spur produce and they have not gotten caught. So she's just opening. This bloom looks so much better than her last. It's not wonky. It looks a lot more precise in shape. And then right behind, I have Prostechia fragrans, who is a first-time bloomer. She has 4 blooms in total. Smells completely different than the radiata. Radiata is much more pleasant, in my opinion, on the fragrance. Somebody asked me if I was sure that this was fragrance, and I am, because the leaves in pseudobulbs are shaped completely different. Not only that, the fragrance is totally different. I'm very familiar with radiata. So yes, this is definitely fragrance without a doubt in my mind. And here we are with this Tulumnia Gyrac Flyer number 69, I believe. No, 642. I had to cheat and look at the tag. She's a nice little compact growing plant or a miniature plant. I grow mine in small grade lava rock. You get watered twice a week in these 3-inch pots. And she has some branching off here at the base, so I'll be very interested to see how this all looks when she's completely open. I have some buds happening on this top shelf, but nothing actually blooming, so we'll come back. Same with this top shelf. Actually, I have something right there. I don't know if you can see in that sheath or not. Well, it'll be a surprise for another day. And then I have the Divine Sharon Roberts. This is bred by H&R Nurseries out in Hawaii. And this is pretty exciting. This is Patanera Baronian Beauty Barana. And I'm not so crazy about the bloom, the coloration or anything like that, but the fragrance. It smells just like roses. And so there's a local florist. Sometimes I go there to pick out orchids, and they had one. And as soon as you walked into the floral shop where they keep the orchids, you could smell roses. And I just assumed somebody had a rose bouquet made. And I was looking at the Oncidium table, and right behind it, up by the cash register, was a specimen size, very mature Verona Beauty. And I would say there's probably a dozen flowers, and it was the orchid that was smelling like roses. It was perfuming the whole front of the floral shop. And I saw the price. If it had just opened the blooms, I would have had no problem paying the price. But the blooms were starting to go over, and the price I felt was a little too hefty for that. But if the blooms had just opened, I would have had zero problem getting it. But it's fine. I ended up attaining mine is much younger, so I got it much cheaper, and I'm happy with this plant. This is the first time I've bloomed it, but the plant itself has bloomed a couple other times before. I have something else down here that's getting ready to bloom. That'll be exciting. A lot of sheaths, a lot of buds. My purpurata still has not opened yet. Yeah, so that shelf is pretty barren. I have some more white cattleyas working on sheaths, and buds are in the sheath. And then I have this wonderful first time blooming Parata Green Deluxe. So it's a little bit of a wonky first time bloom. It's not perfect. You see part of the petals missing up here. But let me tell you all about the fragrance. Think of a lemon dessert that is light and spongy and fluffy, and that is the fragrance that this orchid produces. There's a very nice color to the bloom. The shape of the flower is just a bit off, and it's a first time bloomer, so I'm not really worried about it. There is a second lead coming right here, and it looks like some buds are being produced. So maybe the next set of blooms will look a little bit better. But like I said, the color I really enjoy, and the fragrance is just absolutely delicious. And she perfumes heavy. It's not a light fragrance on her. So I can smell her as soon as I walk into the orchid room. And Cattleya brabantiae will be in bloom again soon. I have more buds. I'm telling you all, I have so many buds and spikes coming. And this is Walter August. So if you remember a couple of weeks ago, you got to see Walter August when she first opened, and she was a lot more lavender, pink, if you will. And so now we are fading to more of an alba with pink dotting. Fragrance is still on point, smells just like an Adosa. but more mild, not as heavy. And she perfumes early morning and then late evening after the grow lights go out and it's dark in here. And Representative Cliff Suji decided to open. I hope I've said that right. She was not open when I got home an hour ago. She wanted to be a part of the video apparently. So she's just starting to open. She's not fully open. You can still see she's cupped down here. This is a beautiful splash petal. I believe it was bred by Hawaii hybrids. But this one here is a Better Grow Baggy Baby. And this is probably the third time I've bloomed this orchid. But I'll insert a photo or when she opens all the way, I'll make a short video because so many people enjoy this orchid. I totally forgot that I moved Dendrobium Hawaiian Magic over here to the window. She's just starting to open, so you can see how vibrant the color is when she first starts to open. Absolutely love her, and I broke her first spike. She was over here on the shelf that I'm getting ready to show you. She was here, and I went to move her, and I broke the spike. It got caught up here on this. So I moved her to the windowsill so that wouldn't happen again. Front and center, this is Hibiki, a primary hybrid. Not fragrant, but look at how awesome those blooms are. I don't know why it doesn't ever focus anymore. They almost have a crystalline appearance to them, very shiny. They catch your eye for sure. We'll finish up with the dendrobiums and then move to the Phalaenopsis. This is Antonetum, still in bloom, and I was watering a couple days ago and saw another spike coming. Wonderful fragrance, a very lemongrassy fragrance, but delicious nonetheless. This is a Epidendrum Comet Valley crossed onto Rose Valley. Very vibrant. The lighting does no justice for the orchid. Like, she is a very vibrant red. I'll have to pull her outside in the sunlight and take pictures and do a video. Especially if all my lower blooms are going to start fading off. I need to do it soon. And then I still have a wonderful bloom on Dendrobium Blue Seas, who is also fragrant, just not as powerful as Antonetum. Beautifully colored. Kind of disappointed in her bloom show this year. Last year I got 7 or 8 spikes out of her and she was so full of blooms, and this year I just have 1. I'm not complaining, better than none, but it is a little disappointing. For Phalaenopsis, I have Vio Catface. This is a compact caloric summertime blooming Phalaenopsis that smells like Fruit Loops. This is Phalaenopsis samara, primary hybrid of Bellina and Violacea. Wonderful fragrance on her, as you can imagine. Cornu Cervi, this is the Flava variety. So this is her first season blooming. This is the 3rd bloom that's open. She's sequential. So every time one bloom fades off, another one's been opening, and this is the 3rd one. Very happy with her. And then my Equestris is opening. I have an Alba Equestris. Although I'm thinking about adding another form into the mix, because I really do enjoy Equestris, other than they're not fragrant. I guess that'd be the biggest downside of an Equestris. but they're small, they're compact, and they come in all sorts of different shades, and they have been crossed back and forth on sieves to get some really cool, unique colors. And maybe I'll try a cerulean form. And then over here, I have red dragonfly. This is another summertime blooming compact pyloric variety. This was bred by Mickey Orchids in Taiwan. I follow them on Instagram. They have some of the greatest phals, I swear. I have quite a few Mickey phals in my collection. I have 4 blooms open in total. How cool is that? And this one is fragrant too. And I guess you could say similar to Fruit Loops. I mean, this one right here is a dead ringer for Fruit Loops, and you can smell it perfume very, very, very heavily, especially in the evening time. This one perfumes just not as heavy. All right, guys, let's go look at my intermediate grow space and see what I have happening over there. We have reached the ensuite. In my intermediate grow space, the temperature is sitting about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. My humidity is sitting about 50% in here. I have some oncidium starting to crack open. Well, right now, I guess it's just this copper scarab. Well, I absolutely love because mine is fragrant. These guys are not known to be fragrant. I've not heard anybody else say that theirs is fragrant, but mine is super fragrant. So I'm excited to have her opening. My lemon drop has not opened yet. She's producing this long spike trying to go up to the ceiling, but nothing has opened. None of those buds have opened. And then I also have this Miltassia who is going to be opening, but she's still elongating her spike too. I do have Cattleya maxima. This is my Highland variety. This is the cerulean form. Look at the lip. Absolutely stunning orchid. And she is fragrant. She's a species orchid, but this one will bloom for me twice a year. I have another Maxima. She only ever blooms, seems to be in November, whereas this orchid will bloom a couple of times a year. And right below, I have my no ID Phalaenopsis still blooming. She just dropped a couple of blooms and then opened this one. And as soon as she starts fading on these blooms, I'm going to go ahead and cut her spike and let her have a little bit of a rest. I did that with this no ID Phalaenopsis, and look, I have another spike coming. So, and she put out a new leaf. I don't know if she's quite finished with this one or not, but she did start spiking. I'm pretty excited about that. So far, I'm having good luck with cutting my spikes back. And then this is pretty exciting. If you guys remember, for over a year, I tried to get my Mariposa to bloom. She was in the orchid room on the top shelf, and I would give her a lot of water. I tried to give her no water. She kept blasting her bud and blasting her blood. So after a year, I decided to move her into the intermediate grow space, and she opened her bud. She bloomed for the first time. Unfortunately, this is not the cultivar that I wanted. I was supposed to receive special lip, and the listing even said special lip, but this is Green Valley. So I don't know if I'll keep her. We'll see how her next bloom looks. I don't have much happening on this side of the ensuite, but I do have this wonderful African violet. She is called the Green Goddess. She has beautiful blooms. And then I have the start of my Vanda. This is Samsarai Glory. Starting to look how big those buds are. These are going to be some beautiful blooms. So we will have that to look forward to in the next video. I'm super, super excited to share her and show her off. All right, y'all, we have made it to the cooler side of intermediate grow space. It is currently sitting at 72 degrees Fahrenheit down here, and my humidity is around 70%. I don't have any Miltoniopsis on the kitchen side in bloom, and my Phalaenopsis Soko Eugeddon is still working on her buds, so we're just going to look at the blooms I have over here, which is actually quite a few. I have this wonderful mini cat that was gifted to me by Gia. And this is not fragrant, but super prolific, wonderful, almost magenta, almost red kind of bloom. It's a SVO hybrid. It's very small. I would say the whole plant, blooms and all, is sitting at 8 inches or smaller. Absolutely love this little mini cat. I rave about her anytime she's in bloom. This is only the second time I've bloomed her, but I've raved about her both times. I also have Miltoniopsis Princess Diana Red Baron still in bloom. Look at those blooms. And she opened up more. So now she looks fuller from this side. Wonderful. I got this from Orchids by the Lake. This came from Yoshi a couple years back. And this is Hare Alexander, who just snuck in a couple of surprise blooms. Look how big they are. Normally there's more, so I guess because there's more blooms, there's less flower, but this time there's more flower because there are less blooms, and it is wonderful. Have some spikes coming here on Snow Charm, so we'll get to see her in the near future. This is a big Miltoniopsis, but she packs a powerful fragrance, so I'm super excited for her to be in bloom. Hare Alexander, of course, that's how I discovered Hare Alexander was in bloom, because I could smell the fragrance. I was watering, and as I got closer to the plant, I could smell a Miltoniopsis that was not Princess Diana. This is Cattleya Forbesii, a species Cattleya. Should have given me 2 blooms, but blasted this before it even became a bud, unfortunately. Slowest orchid to open its bloom, but it's worth it. I love the lip. Is it compact for a species? This is a compact grower. So if you grow indoors, it's something to look into if you're trying to get into species orchids. I had told you all that I moved my Cymbidium over to the windowsill, and she was not blooming for me, which is crazy as this orchid blooms quite a bit of times throughout the year. And I moved my Enzinfolium over here, and look. And there is another spike that is coming up that I saw when I was watering. It's very low. It's somewhere over there. So yeah, I put her back under light, so hopefully she'll just keep blooming for me. This orchid usually blooms, I don't know, 3, 4 times a year. It's the 4 seasons orchid, but she never blooms for me in winter. And I have Phalaenopsis soft cloud. As soon as she starts to fade, I'm going to go ahead and cut back her spike so she can conserve some energy and hopefully put out another nice bloom show for us in the spring. I have the start of Hawaiara Lava Burst, Punani. Not fragrant, but wonderful, delicate little red burgundy blooms. Let's see if we can see inside. Kind of. There's an orange and yellow pattern within the blooms. And then this one is also going to branch off with another little cluster of blooms. So this should be a nice full branch of blooms, spike of blooms whenever it finishes opening. And I have Zygopetalum cygnosier bluebirds, fragrant, not heavily fragrant. You have to get close to smell it, but still fragrant nonetheless. And cerulean or indigo. I have quite a few buds on my Dracula. This is Rio Machangara. So hopefully they will all open at one time and we'll get one big show. That'd be awesome. A lot of times the blooms come and then fade out before I ever get a show. Anthera Gold, Phalaenopsis Anthera Gold. This is her second show for the year. I cut back her spike and she sent out another one. I also have Gutulata. This is a Masdevallia with fragrance. Smells very similar to Dendrobium antinetum, so it's a lemongrassy fragrance. Nonetheless, who cares, because it is a Masdevallia and it's fragrant, and I just think that's awesome. Nice little species. Stays on the compact side. Maybe I can step back. In person, it looks so much better when you walk in and see it on this top shelf. My phone doesn't want to cooperate with me on focusing today. And Dendrobium cerola is still in bloom. Just a few blooms left. I did have clusters on most of the spikes earlier this year. And this is Masdevallia Viberbaueri. And she has more spikes coming, so I will have more blooms. Oh, and Chasey Eye, it looks like she's going over. The Masdevallia right behind is also a species orchid and had a single bloom open, but it looks like she's going over. My Zygopetalum Rhine Moonlight Peloric is getting ready to open buds, and I have most of my Phalaenopsis respiking. So this is Bronze Maiden. I also have this Brother Sweet Sugar, and this is my yellow tris, Sogo yellow tris, peloric variety. She was working on a leaf, stopped growing her leaf, and started shooting out a spike. So I'm not happy that she stopped growing her leaf, but I am happy that we are getting a spike. I still have quite a few of the African violets blooming. All right, y'all. This is where I want to end the video for this week because I want to talk about this orchid. This is from Ecohenera. It's a primary hybrid of Gigas or Varsavexii. I prefer Gigas. Crossed onto Luteola, and it's called Luciana C. I just think this is absolutely wonderful hybrid. This is the first time it's bloomed since I've gotten it. I just got this orchid earlier this year. The lip is just breathtaking. I have not picked up on any fragrance. I did have a subscriber reach out when I did my unboxing and said that she has two of these and she grows one in her warmer grow space and the other one in her cooler space. And she said that the one that's growing in her cooler space performs better. So I said, well, that's just an excuse to put a cattleya in the living room. I'm totally going to take her suggestion. And so I'm growing this one on the cooler side of intermediate. She has been in quarantine, so I've just brought her out maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I want to enjoy this bloom. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And it's right by my couch, so you notice it as soon as you walk into the house. But I just thought that this was such an awesome bloom. I really, really like this hybrid. It reminds me, I have a Cattleya Aurora, and it kind of reminds me of the similar growth pattern and the vigor reminds me of Cattleya Aurora. So I think I'm going to get along great with this orchid. And if she blooms as much as my Aurora does, I'm going to be just as pleased as pudding. But thank you guys for coming on this Bloom and Spike tour with me. As you can see, we have a lot of things coming in the near future. So I'm going to have to do two-part Bloom and Spike tour for the month of July, which I'm totally happy with. That means that we have a lot of things happening. Thank you all for hanging out with me, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Y'all take care.